legend of ROR, legend of the Wall, legend of Lucerne.
What I'm doing here is I'm basically building a clone of my truck from 20 years ago. I beat a lot of V8s back in the day with this little 4-cylinder, and I would like to do it. I intend to do it again.
Guys, we're with Matt Helton right now, OG Prerunner extraordinaire, legend of ROR, legend of the Wall, legend of Lucerne, freaking 1450 man over here. We actually found out that Matt's going to be doing a project build, which is this Toyota back here. As soon as we found out, us OG old Prerunner guys got really stoked.
No way! Yes way!
Because we remembered how much Matt has been so influential on the community and his driving style, everything, you know, from garage fabber dude to going out and racing and competing and fabbing today.
Yep.
And he's actually going pretty quick, which is cool. We seen him start gathering parts, and before we knew it, it's all coming together. So hey man, thank you so much again. Thank you so much for letting us come down, man. Tell us from the beginning. I don't know. How did you get into the Prerunner stuff, man?
Well, I've always been going to the desert since I was a kid with my dad, riding dirt bikes and camping. And as I got into high school, I had some buddies that had some Prerunners. Naturally, I wanted to be like them. They were older friends.
Yeah.
They had Toyotas and Rangers, but my closest buddy had a Toyota, so it seemed like all of the truck mods of my neighbors' trucks, my friends' trucks, always happened at my dad's house. My house. So we were always over there wrenching and tweaking and lifting, lowering, whatever, just stupid stuff all the time, just wrenching.
And this is out here in Orange County?
Yeah, in the city of Orange.
Okay, cool.
Is where I grew up. And so we were always tweaking on trucks, and it turned into, you know, going out and jumping and, you know, going out to El Mirage on the weekends. And we were at FabTech, we were at Downey, buying parts, you know, just doing the whole Prerunner thing, fiberglass fenders, you know, just, it was super budget for me back then. I mean, just, you know, working our butt off to, you know, make $500 to buy some Ranchos, you know, and the upper arm torsion bars, you know, the strut frame, all that stupid Toyota stuff that all those guys know. You know, learning how to weld on our own trucks and, you know, like the old Harbor Freight pipe bender that we were trying to bend tubing with, which is a whole other thing, but we made it work. And then I had a friend in high school, him and his brother raced a 516 car in Lorana and MDR. So I started going out with them to help them chase and do pit support. And then that sort of sparked the whole love for racing, and I started being around the racing scene, and then it went from more of a Prerunner thing to a racing thing.
So what was your first truck?
My first truck was an 89 two-wheel drive Toyota pickup.
So not very far from this.
No, not very far from this, because this is actually an 86, so it was a newer truck than this one. But I was a junior in high school when I got that. The second truck was a 91, and the third one is the Tacoma over there.
There it is right there.
That's SY3.
I heard the SY3 has pulled out some stuck people.
Yeah, that truck.
Is that true?
Truck boogies. It's got a really bitchin' 4-low, and it does some work.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so then this is the number 4. This is SY4. And SY stands for Super Yoda, as silly as it sounds, but when I was 18 or 19, whatever the hell, when I came up with that.
Yeah.
It sounded cool, and the name just kind of stuck, so that's what the SY stands for anyone who's wondering, which is usually a lot of people.
So tell us a little about the ROR, man, and how was your involvement with all that stuff?
Well, I knew Greg and Jen pretty well from, you know, the whole Prerunners.com, Inland Prerunners, which turned into United Prerunners. I was really good friends with them, and Greg used to help me. You know, I'd pick his brain, because he's a super smart dude when it comes to shocks and geometry, and, you know, he was like, oh, we're building this track, and I'm like, wow, where do I sign up? Like, I gotta be there.
This was like the foundation of
and this
Prerunners,
was like
man.
2002, 2003,
right?
A long ass time ago, and he had a tractor and an old crappy water truck, you know, and he cut this tracking out there, and it was just the most epic thing to be able to run our own trucks out there. You know, it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think, that that we had events out there. And the jump contest, I mean, he built this, you know, jump bigger than the Laughlin Leap. That track was pretty brutal, and it wrecked a lot of cars.
It wrecked a lot of cars and brought kind of a lot of these guys together.
Absolutely.
You know,
it was always a good time there.
So here we are, ROR, and then you started filming with Steve, right?
Yeah, Steve Kurtica, XYZ Productions. He did a bunch of stuff. I think he made 1, 2, 3 videos.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff, man.
Yeah, I was in a few of those, lucky enough to get out and
go rip.
Flog my truck while he was filming. And there was one really nasty wall jump that I did for him and bent some shocks and stuff on the landing, and about, I think I was like an inch shorter after that. But
tell us about the SY2 truck.
So SY2 started as a truck in the junkyard. I pulled it out of a junkyard. It was in really, really bad shape and no engine in it, no transmission. Started the build on it like, I was 20 years old, 21 or whatever, didn't know what I was doing, but I had a good idea. In my dad's driveway, chop saw, the bench grinder, I had a little MIG welder. And just started putting it together, and I won the championship in MDR in 2006 and 1450. And beating a bunch of V8 Link trucks, which was pretty cool.
How sweet was that?
It was sweet. It was sort of the tortoise and the hare kind of thing. I always say that, it's a silly thing, but it worked well. But it wasn't super fast, obviously, because I only had like 140 horsepower. Right. But it never broke.
And what motor was that in there?
22R.
22R?
4-cylinder, 2.4 liters. But it just went and went and went, and I prepped my stuff meticulously, and it just was one of those things where I would just wave at all the V8 guys that were broke on the side of the track because their stuff wouldn't stay together. So
and here we go.
SY4. We started building. This was mostly his idea.
Okay. Is that right?
Yeah. What I'm doing here is I'm basically building a clone of my truck from 20 years ago. And once again, that was my son's idea to duplicate.
It's your fault, dude.
To duplicate the SY2. So it's the same exact engine, the same transmission, the same front suspension.
Rad. The
same rear end.
You guys are going to keep it leaf sprung too?
Oh, yes. Yes,
all right.
Absolutely. The old truck was a 1450 truck, but this truck is going to be in class 2000. Because 1450 now is like
all over,
mind blown with door slamming trophy trucks with 600, 700 horsepower.
Bunch of jerks.
4.5 inch shocks. I mean, just total sandbaggers.
Sandbaggers.
But whatever. It is what it is. The rules the rules only state steel cabin slamming doors. So hey, more power to them. I get it.
Yeah.
But for what I'm doing with this truck and duplicating the old truck and being super budget minded, I want my son to cut his teeth in this truck racing.
Nice.
Because he wants to go out and learn how to drive. And I feel that you can become a better driver in a limited truck.
100%.
Sending your kid out with 600 horsepower right out the gate.
Totally.
I think it makes you a better driver to learn with a smaller motor and less wheel travel and read terrain, all that stuff.
You hear these wonderful, wise words from this man? Listen to that. Rewind it. Listen to it again. You kind of want to take us through this? I see this looks like a fresh Total Chaos kit, which is pretty wild.
Yes, so this is the Total Chaos Gen 3 caddy kit, and it's the identical kit that I had on my old truck 20 years ago.
Okay.
Just a brand new reproduction of it.
Okay.
That they just whipped up for me about a month ago.
You want to take us through the kit and kind of explain it?
Yeah, so it four-wheel drive. It's an 86 four-wheel drive frame. The Gen 1 and Gen 2 utilize four-wheel drive still.
Okay.
This kit does not utilize four-wheel drive, so the differential is deleted. This is still the four-wheel drive spindle. What they do is they take it and they add to the top and they subtract from the bottom. So the lower arm goes in right where the axle would go in when it was four-wheel drive. So they build a lift spindle out of it.
Okay.
And so it's basically a fabricated spindle on top of the stock unit. So it's the stock snout. Stock would have the axle sticking out right here. The four-wheel drive hub is still going to go on here, the locking hub. When it's all said and done, it won't do anything, but it's just going to be a hubcap basically.
Okay.
But these are all the stock four-wheel drive parts. It's going to use the stock brakes. They designed this as a 100% bolt-on race kit. So the only thing that isn't bolt-on, obviously, is building shock mounts. But it uses the stock cross shaft for the upper arm, stock pivots on the lowers. Obviously, I built the whole subframe underneath to gusset the lower mounts and everything to beef it all up. The steering system also 100% bolt-on.
No way.
And the steering system is also all their parts. So the either arm goes right in the stock mounts. The pitman arm they build, it goes right on the stock gearbox, tie rods.
Rad.
The center link, it's a stock center link that they gusset and add that piece onto the middle there. And it's a really simple but super bulletproof kit.
I see you have a freshly prepped motor ready to go.
Yeah, that thing's ready
it's ready to go.
That's ready to rock. That 22R is
holes and everything.
Ready for the junkyard, but it's a good mock-up motor, and I was able to build my engine mounts, build the transmission mounts. Because obviously this was 4-wheel drive, so it had the 4-wheel drive gearbox in it. It had the transfer case.
Okay.
I deleted all that, so I had to build a whole new cross member for the 2-wheel drive transmission.
Okay.
You know, and I deleted the rubber stock mounts. You know, did urethane bushing mounts on the engine. But I have a friend of mine who's building the 22R that's going to go in this.
Nice, man. And I mean, the 22Rs hold true.
Well, it doesn't make a lot of power, but it's a bulletproof motor, and you can just wind them out at $6,000 all day long. And they never talk back. And it's just one of those things where it's a super economical engine. It's, you know, it's gonna be carbureted still. I have a Weber carb that's going on it. I bought an LC Engineering head, so like it's gonna pop a little bit, but it's not super crazy. Just you know, a stock bottom end rebuild, so it'll be reliable still, but it's gonna make decent power.
I think what's so cool about this is he truly is rebuilding that old championship truck, man.
And every single person, including Mike Cox, is like, why don't you just put an LS in it?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I'm rebuilding the old truck. Like, I'm duplicating the old truck. And I beat a lot of V8s back in the day with this little 4-cylinder, and I would like to do it. I intend to do it again. Whether it's me driving or him driving, this truck is gonna hurt some feelings, and I'm excited about that.
Shock mounts look great. I see you got the hydraulic bump right here, kind of facing the top.
Yep. So that
nice setup.
So just a 2-inch travel, 2-inch king bump. Both shocks are 2.5 inch. Both 10-inch travel. You know, 2-inch up here. I got a 4-inch stroke bump in the back.
Okay.
But that was one of the main things. Where the old truck, I had a 4-inch bump stop up here. In hindsight, it wasn't the best thing, so that's why I went with the 2-inch stroke on the front this time.
Okay.
Instead of the 4-inch, but I want the 4. I want to keep the 4-inch in the rear. So.
Well, this looks so incredibly solid, man. I'm pumped for you guys.
Yeah. It's,
you want to take us through the cab? All right.
So yeah, in here, just again, super simple, basic for the score rule book, which I just wanted to make sure. I don't plan on racing score, but I just wanted to make it super safe for my son and I. So yeah, the main 4 corners, it's all 1 3/4 120 wall DOM. The diagonal here 120 wall, and then everything else to save weight is 095. So I just everything, I cut holes in the floor, all the tubes go through down to the frame, plated it all back in, so it's super legit. And so if you notice too, the roof's been cut off. I fit all the tubes in here.
And why do you do? And why do you do that again? You want to explain that?
Well, the important part is being able to weld everything 360 degrees around the tops of all the tubes.
So that's why you cut the top.
So there's multiple ways you can do it. You can cut holes in the top, but the easiest way and most common way is just to
chop it,
sawzall the whole roof, remove it, weld everything, weld the lid back on, and then there's a bunch of plate work that ties in the cab to the cage, so everything's super solid and doesn't rattle and clank around. All the tubes from the back half, they all come through in here, and then everything's plated in, so it's a super rigid structure when it's all said and done.
Nice.
But yeah, so the seats are mounted, steering column's done. Pedals, I'm using all the stock pedals in here. I'm not getting all fancy with CNCs or any aftermarket. Stuff. It's going to use the stock brake booster, stock master, stock clutch master. All the dash in this car will be right here.
Okay.
So I'll have a radio, intercom, a couple gauges, some switches, a water temp gauge, oil pressure gauge, an alternator dummy light. I'm using the stock fan clutch, no electric fan.
So cool.
So there'll be some lights. It'll be super simple to wire. Carbureted, so no ECU, just basic stuff. Once I get a little further on in here, then I will add the door bars because there'll be some more tubes in here. But I don't want to put those in until I'm done doing most of the work in here because trying to crawl around is a pain in the butt.
For sure.
So that'll be like one of the last things I do is doing the door bars.
Excellent. Let's head on to the back of this thing. All right, dude, this is crazy. Even to see this bend like this again is like, it's crazy.
I had to cut the whole back of the truck off.
No way.
And so if you look here, you see these plates. Then on the inside over there is where I cut the original frame off because it was so rusted out. And once again, I went on my Instagram and I put up a post that, hey, I'm looking for a Toyota back half, Toyota frame. And sure enough, this guy's like, "Yeah, I got one sitting in my backyard. I'll bring me a case of Modelo's and it's yours."
Dude, how does that happen, dude? It still blows my mind, dude. It's crazy.
So I drove down to San Diego with a case of beer. And
of course, the Modelo's go to San Diego.
Yeah, it was pretty, and picked up this frame section and spliced it on.
Okay.
And the only problem was he had it bobbed right here because it was a rock crawler. So usually the frame comes all the way out to here.
Okay.
And he had a tube going across there, which crashed into my shackles, and so I had to add this back out to get it back to the stock length.
You want it how it was.
I want it how it was, and like I said, this has to be able to swing back into for clearance and all that. So I took the whole frame, had it sandblasted, so I had this clean slate. So it's so nice just being able to just weld anywhere on here.
That's wonderful.
And have it be beautiful.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, I just, started super basic with my tubes out the back.
Yep.
At the cab, I always like to drop it right at the bump stop area. And then just started adding simple, knowing that I'm going to be putting...
So this is what he's talking about, guys. He's coming from here, dropping it way down right here.
Yeah,
so it all ties in.
So all the bump loads here are being absorbed into the cage and driven up into the chassis. The 62-inch Devers, that's just the main leaf, obviously, all the rest of the stacks, but I'm still going to need to cycle this out.
Right.
Then you can't do with the stack together, so it's just the main leaf on there. These spring hangers and shackles are from Total Chaos also.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's a package they make to mount these springs. The spring perch down, the U-bolt perch, that's Total Chaos also. They make a full kit just to mount the Devers 62s.
Does Total Chaos still have that stuff available?
Oh yes, absolutely. This is a 3.0, 18-inch fuel cell, same thing, body used. It's a 32-gallon jazz cell. One tire back here, and I got the battery mounted back here, just trying to keep weight in the back.
So the setup, right? You guys see the gas tank right behind the rear end, and then you're just gonna run a single tire back here, and it's way back here, so it's super balanced out. And
Yes.
I mean, dude, it looks great, man.
Yeah, a lot of guys do the midship fuel cells. I'm not a fan of those.
Yeah.
I like the balance. I put as much weight in the back as possible to help carry the front, and that was sort of the secret to my old build, I think, with doing the sky wheelies everywhere. So Curry's building me a 3.5-inch housing right now.
Okay.
And it's still going to have flange axles. It won't be a floater.
Okay.
For all those guys out there that
Think they need a floater.
think you need a floater, I never broke
35s.
37s actually.
37s.
37s.
Oh.
But the tire package that I'm running is a buggy tire. It's a super light tire. It's a 3710
Okay.
tensor, and it's I can't say what it weighs, but it's light. So I'm going a little bit bigger on diameter with 37, but it's narrower and it's lighter.
Right.
So I'm pretty confident that the engine is going to turn them easier than that old big heavy tire.
This is great, guys. So if you guys have any questions or you guys have any old videos of Matt, send them our way. Thank you guys so much for checking out this episode. Comment below, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And let's keep this going, man. I can't wait, bro. Thank you so much for everything, man. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah.